Are you someone who's new to tabletop role-playing games, but take a look at a 366-page, 279-card system and get a little overwhelmed? It's okay. That sometimes happens to us too. But in order to ease your worries about joining a game of Critical Role's new Daggerheart system, we've made this video just for you. This is Teaching My Parents How to Roleplay. Not like that. Hello everyone, and welcome to another EXP video. I am here with my mom, teaching her how to roleplay, but specifically in Daggerheart, the system that has recently come out from Critical Role. I'm here at my parents' hot house. It's muggy, I'm sweaty, and we're going to sit and make a character today, because you've never played a TTRPG, is my guess, tabletop RPG game?
No. I don't even know what that is.
Cool. We'll walk you through this a little bit. You'll create a character in it. This video is for anyone who has never played a tabletop RPG before and is interested in possibly playing Daggerheart. This is to possibly ease your nerves, so you can go to game stores or friend groups or whatever and make a character and get playing. Get to know people and have some fun telling stories. We're gonna do this with my mom, and I think with my dad as well. But I think he already knows the character he wants to make. So we'll run through everything here, and then we'll maybe quick make that character, because he doesn't even need to look at the, classes and stuff. We know what character he wants to make. And then, yeah, we'll do that. We have the full spread in front of us. Not only is the system laid out where it walks you through all of the steps of creating. It's chapter 1, preparing for your adventure, and it's the general overviews, and then right into character creation, just at the very beginning. Even at the end, there is a small section with character sheet items. So there's one here if you need to copy it. There's also a character sheet sidecar, so you can literally put it under your character sheet, and it'll point at that thing on the sheet itself, so you can know what that is. There's multi-class features if you want to do that as well, and then an actual step through of character creation. So
people like me.
So you can take this and kind of just walk through all the steps. I went ahead and printed from the PDF version as well, so you can sit and walk through those step by step if you want to get started.
Am I reading this? Choose a class?
So yes, step 1 is choose a class. We'll go ahead and open up our 4 rule book.
It represents the kind of character you'll be playing and gives you access to certain abilities and spells during the game. Take the character sheet specific to this class. Each class has a number of subclasses to choose from that help define what kind of focus you would like your character to have. Take this foundation card for your chosen subclass.
Daggerheart also comes with this second box. Ooh, very fancy art. And it opens up to a bunch of cards. Make it really easy. You're gonna make characters because you don't need to fill in a ton of different... There are some things you have to fill in the actual sheet itself, but some of the stuff is just on these cards. So you can pick your cards, take them with you wherever you go. Your GM probably has them. Would you like to choose your class? So when I first got here, I was kind of like, look at these fancy books. And I mentioned the classes a little bit, but I didn't go into too much detail. So you had some time to think on what you might potentially want.
So just pick which
one
so whatever you're a part of.
Yes.
Oh.
What are you envisioning for your character?
More of the brave.
You can make Joe character.
Brave.
All right. Someone brave.
Going strong. Going home.
You're going for the warrior class?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So in the PDF version, there are PDF character sheets that you can find for your specific class, and then print those sheets out, and it has stuff filled in already for you. You want to bring a dog in?
Okay. My warrior dog.
You could have a familiar, a warrior dog that travels with you. You can print out that sheet as well. I think it's at some point. You can go ahead and pick out your class-specific character sheet. Because those are available as well, and it already has some things laid out, like your HP gets 6, and you have a certain amount of stress and things like that, so here are your sheets.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and...
Is that number 2?
Yeah.
Heritage. Your character's heritage is made up of both an ancestry and a community card. These 2 cards establish your character's physical appearance and the environment they grew up in.
Ancestry. So yes, this
Ancestry and community card.
is the type of individual you are. There's a bunch available, but there's like the Clank race, which is like robots, Dracona, which is dragon individuals. There's dwarves, elves, fairy, which kind of have almost like a descent from like insects and things in this system, but you can make it. You guys know Aurelia in our game is not really insect-like, but more like direct from the sun, because that's Katie's character. And if you would like, you could also go into mixed ancestry.
I think I like the elf.
Elf, all right. So we'll flip to the elf page. And the ancestry doesn't have a ton in it for you to sort of copy down, but you do get a couple abilities. So you have quick reactions, is what it's called. So we'll go ahead and give you as well your sidecar, if you'd like.
Where do I put that?
This is a very helpful piece that they threw in there for you guys. Essentially, if you take your sheet and put the sidecar underneath it and layer it like that, it gives you pointed arrows and descriptions of where things are and what they are on your sheet. Up here, specifically, so this section denotes your class and domains, abilities, and whatever. So this one, it's a little cut off, but that's name. So do you have a name for your character yet?
Huh?
We can do that last too. I know that's...
Think about that. Because I gotta create the character. And then
you gotta meet them first.
Yeah. I mean, ancestry.
Heritage is your ancestry and then like / your community.
What did I pick?
So elf, you could put there. And you chose warrior. And you chose Call of the Brave or Call of the Slayer. Call of the Brave. So you get this foundation card, which is the base abilities that you get for this class. Oh, I think you do actually. These are abilities. Yes. Okay. Clank, Dracona, Elf. So you don't even have to write down your ancestry items because they have little cards with that. So those that are labeled here in the book will also be on this card here. And also, now we're going to get to the community ones. So that's what your heritage is.
Okay.
Is your ancestry and then your community. So we want to just look kind of at the cards. We can do that too. You have the options of Highborn, which is like a highborn community accustomed to the life of elegance and opulence. There's There's Loreborn, which is being part of a community, a society that favors strong academic or political prowess. There's Orderborn, discipline or faith. You can uphold a set of principles that reflect your experience here. Ridgeborn, born and growing in the rocky peaks.
I'll take that one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
There's also Wanderborn, which are the nomadic ones. So those of you who know Morgan in our series is a Wanderborn and travels via hot air balloon. There's also Wildborn, which is deep within the forest, but larger.
No, I go mountain before forest.
All right.
You know what? I'm going with Ridgeborn.
Ridgeborn, rocky peaks, sharp cliffs.
Yep.
All right. Now you can do Elf/Ridgeborn. So, what's the next step?
Oh, number 3.
We're only on step 2. There's 9.
We gotta get moving. Assign character traits. Distribute the values -1, 0, 0.
There are 2 zeros, yeah.
Okay. +1, +1. +2. Across your character traits, when rolling, you'll add the value of that character trait to the roll.
So that's when you actually start playing. These are your modifiers for it. Go to your sheet.
Okay.
That's across the top here. Actually, we can shift your sidecar to the other side, I think. Should have this area as your 6 character traits.
6 character traits. You use these as your primary modifiers on action rolls. The descriptions beneath each trait remind you how to use them.
If we're in the game and I'm like, roll an instinct roll, that means it's something that you're trying to perceive or sense, or you're trying to navigate through something. -1, 0, 0, +1, +1, and +2. Yes, and depending on how you want your character to be, you can assign them as such. So low agility.
Great.
Yeah, the -1 will essentially, if you roll your 2d12 and I say roll with agility, will be -1 from that roll.
Okay.
You went with high knowledge.
I don't know about this.
That's why we play D&D, so you can
Fantasy
dream
world.
being another character.
Yeah. Low agility, I bought into that.
We've assigned them this way. We have -1 to agility, 0 to strength, 0 to finesse, 1 to instinct.
0 strength.
That's what you put there. +1 to presence, and then +2 to knowledge. So we got a bit of a smart fighter here. Our next step is step 4.
Record character information. Next, record your starting evasion. Additionally, gain 2 hope to start the game.
If you look at your sheet, there is a hope section here.
Mm-hmm.
But you would mark 2 hope here. Yeah, just like a slash through them, or yeah. So those are items you can use to help an ally, or sometimes there are class things that cost a hope to do. So you can gain hope throughout the whole session. You can lose hope to go do those things. Here it says you can spend a hope to use an experience or help an ally. So if you want to do like a help action to help someone else do something, you can describe your character like, oh, I hold the ladder still while they're climbing up or something. That will give them advantage on doing that item.
Okay.
So you can spend a hope to do that. Or, like I said, there's abilities and things that all run with hope. You start out with 2 at the beginning of your game. And your starting evasion. This is your evasion. It tells you here on this specifically warrior sheet to start with 11. So, actually, the next step is choosing starting equipment.
Choose starting equipment. Decide which weapons you want to start the game with, and record their details in the appropriate spaces in the active weapons section. Should we do that first and then go to the next part?
Sure. We have our active weapons section on the right here, yeah. It should say starting, yes. So you get a section of the book. You can also have a printout version that says starting primary weapons, physical, starting primary weapons, magical, starting secondary weapons, and then starting armor. All of which, if you want to have a starting weapon that is magical, you can talk to your GM about it and decide what is allowed and what's not allowed. I know, like Evandris in our series decided to have arcane gauntlets, which is a starting primary weapon, but is magical compared to the usual battle axe and things like that. You get a list of various weapons to start out with. So what do you think your character would wield? You get a primary weapon from either one of these, and then choose a secondary down here.
Physical or magic? One of the
Physical
other?
or magic, whatever you'd like. There's a bunch on there.
I think. What's a broadsword?
Broadsword, you can see here, I think is like a single blade sided and might be curved. Longsword is just long and straight with a dual edge blade.
Wow. I'm gonna go with a longsword then.
A longsword, alright.
Yeah.
Longsword is listed, and it has different pieces to it that you'll fill in down here.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Longsword. Trait and range.
Mm-hmm.
Agility.
Yep, agility. And then range, it says melee. Damage and type is listed here as D8 plus 3, and then you could put PHY if you want, but that just says that it's like physical damage instead of magical. Okay. Feature.
Okay.
So usually if you choose something that has a feature, you can then write it in the feature section.
Alright.
The longsword doesn't have one.
Nope.
We'll head to secondary weapons, and you'll choose one from there. And the fun thing is usually, if you would like to as well, your GM can then flavor some of the weapons to be something different. If you want like a whip or something and you want to flavor it as a boomerang or whatever, you can do that as well.
How about a round shield?
A round shield, alright.
Alright. Agility.
Mm-hmm.
Melee.
So do you know what melee means?
It actually says it. I believe.
Yeah, there is, they also have a range, melee, very close, far. It doesn't really say what it is, but melee is like we would be in melee, yeah, exactly.
Hand-to-hand combat. 8 plus 3 again.
So it should say here, so it's a D4 plus nothing.
Okay.
This one does have a feature though.
Protective,
you get a +1 to your armor score.
Okay.
Alright. So, what is our next step?
Oh, the next part of this stuff.
Yeah, that's a pretty long step.
Yeah. Next, take one of the available options for the starting armor and record its details in the appropriate spaces. Your armor comes with its own damage thresholds and base armor score. Record this alongside your selection under active armor. Add your thresholds to your level and record those numbers under the damage and health section. Also record the base armor score plus modifiers from any features in the large shield labeled armor at the top of the sheet.
Right.
That's a lot of instructions.
We can take it sentence by sentence.
So the first part we're going to do is Take one of the available options for the starting armor and record its details in the space.
Do armor, which has the same information that you're looking at right now, just in the book.
I'm
Page
going.
126.
I'm going with chainmail armor, although I know it is heavy, and I
Alright.
will get a -1 to evasion, but that's what I'm going with.
All right. And then, yeah, you should have you have a feature line, so you can write that -1 to evasion.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's just going to be easier to hit you. Your evasion score is
Because it's heavy.
how you can avoid, but yes, because chainmail starts to get heavy.
Yes, but I feel like chainmail is a little safer than leather, and it's not as
Mhm.
heavy as the full plate armor.
Yes.
That's what I'm going
Look
with.
at you. Look at you.
Okay.
So your armor is up there. So that your base armor score, it says, will go in the shield.
What is my base armor score?
It is listed here under base score.
Oh, I didn't
That's
realize
what it
that's what that was. Okay, where do I put that?
That goes in the shield
Okay.
here. So
4.
with a chainmail, it'd be a 4. So then we get into base thresholds. Because you have a round shield, your feature is a +1 to your armor score.
Oh,
So that's actually a 5.
let me go.
Yeah, we can read that.
All right.
This is why you fill these out in pencil.
Okay, yeah, I know. That's all I had. Let's see. Tell me this shit. The starting inventory for your class is listed on your character guide.
So it says inventory. You get a torch, 50 feet of rope, basic supplies, and a handful of gold.
Record those items in the inventory section of your character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where is that?
Right up here, inventory.
Okay.
So this is the second page of the character sheet that printed out with the warrior. At the top, there's an inventory section specific to the inventory that is for this class. So then you choose between a minor health potion or a minor stamina potion. Health potion brings back some of your HP if you take it, and a minor stamina potion brings back some of your stress. I believe with the warrior class, you don't do a lot with stress. I think you do a lot with hope, depending on your class, and you can actually, I think, check on your card.
So keep the health potion?
That's up to you. I mean, you can technically take either. If you're with a party and you have a stamina potion and someone needs it, you can give it to them. So what do you think your character would have on them? Health or stamina?
Stamina.
All right.
So what do I do with that? Oh.
So in your inventory, you mark a minor stamina potion. You get to add either the drawing of a lever or a sharpening stone, so you can sharpen like your blade.
Sharpening stone. All day, every day. So put that in here?
So yeah, in your inventory. Backstory.
For my
please.
sword.
Yeah.
Yep. That's way more useful. Okay. That's number 5.
That's, I think, all the number 5. Yeah.
Yes. Create your background. Make description choices from the available options on your character guide, or create your own. This will help you start to build out your character's look and attitude. Then use the background questions on your character guide as a jumping off point to build out your character's history or create your own questions. Finally, name your character and choose which pronouns they use. Okay, so who taught you how to fight and why did they stay behind when you left home? So,
Could be anyone. A mentor that you'd think of, or like who do you think your character would have learned their fighting abilities from?
some sort of teacher. Some sort of mentor, maybe. Mentor would probably be.
It could be, a family member, or you went to a
I was gonna say
a fighting academy.
There we go. So yeah, if I'm in a fighting academy, who's the head guy? What would he be called?
You could do Captain,
Who's a sergeant? But that.
or
All
this
right.
is fantasy. It could be whatever you want.
Yeah. Could I just call him Harel?
Harel, sure.
Yeah.
Harel, the leader of your fighting
Yes.
academy there.
Yep.
And why would they stay behind when you went off to adventure?
Because he had to train more behind me.
Keep going. All right, had to keep training.
Train.
So from a DM perspective, that would mean there is still a training academy out there somewhere that has this NPC Harel leading that charge. So who knows, maybe from DM perspective of trying to make some sort of tension, maybe you suddenly get a telepathic message or something from a familiar voice as you hear, "The academy has been attacked." And now you have to go back home and figure out what's happening.
I get that, man. All right. Somebody defeated you in battle years ago and left you to die. Who was it, and how did they betray you? Let's think about that. I think leaving you to die would be the betrayal, but
Well, yeah. Or, it could be
I got abandoned.
yeah, the betrayal could be like they left you in a tavern with a bunch of other NPCs pointing their swords at you and just kind of left, or...
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
call him Jinx.
Jinx. Oh, I like that.
What legendary place have you always wanted to visit, and why is it so special?
So you could also work with your GM with for this question if you want. If there's a specific setting that you guys are doing, you can ask them what are cool locations that my character might want to go to, or if we're going right off the cuff, you can think of a cool place that your character might want to go. Maybe another set of fjords or something that is of another continent.
Fjord is a good. Fjord. Does it have to be like a realistic continent or a like?
It could be whatever you want in this game.
I want it to be Iceland again, but you put that in there.
So the fun fact:
volcanic.
The northern half of my continent that I've built for this game is based off of Norway and Iceland.
That's where I want to go.
That's why it's called Fjord. I believe it's like a snowy fjord or something essentially in that tongue. So it could be another landmass of fjords and things that maybe the people are acclimated to living there through living in similar to Osrin, another city in our world, but they could be living in the side of the fjords or something, caved out homes or hollowed out homes in the side of the fjords sticking out, and they have different planks between locations and stuff, so you could always want to visit there.
Yeah. Then use the background questions your character guide as a jumping off point to build your character's history. Finally name your character and... Oh, do I have to do that now?
You don't have to name your character now if you don't want to.
Alright, it's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Create your experiences, number 7.
Yeah.
Use all the choices and backstory you've made about your character so far to generate their starting 2 experiences. A set of narrative words or phrases that represent what they've learned or become in their journey so far.
Yeah.
So both a modifier of +2.
These are experiences you can, like, remember we mentioned hope earlier? You can spend a hope to add an experience to something if it applies to the thing you're doing for your character. Those will be on your main sheet if you go back to that first one.
Right there.
Yes, cool. So, the first 2 lines. So, these little slots here, you can put +2 because that's what those are going to be anyway.
On both?
Yes. Because they're both going to be +2.
Okay.
But now you have to come up with 2 experiences for your character. I kind of like using movie quotes because I think that's fun.
Yeah. Can you call for, like, help through these things? Or...
How so?
Like, backup is pretty universal?
That's
fun.
Backup seems like a pretty universal term.
That could be one of them, honestly. You can put backup as a pretty universal term. That's awesome. I'm just out catching. Are you making Paul Blart Mall Cop? That's awesome. If you're ever in like a, RP situation and you're talking about maybe the guards have come and surrounded you guys, and it's like you alone and your character's trying to get there faster or something, and you try to make a diversion or something, you can be like, can I use my experience? Backup is a pretty universal term as I'm waiting for these people to get here, and that's awesome. Then whatever roll you make, you can add it +2 to it.
Okay.
And that'll make you that much better in that roll.
Okay. And then I gotta have a social.
You have one more.
Oh.
What is the thing that he has?
Low sugar?
No, yeah. Well, yeah. What is it? Hypoglycemia. What's the one about him having his own code?
Oh yeah, the oath. His own oath. We don't have an oath. I have my own. It's on a plaque in my room. Yeah. Protecting the
West
Pavilion Mall. Yeah. We're gonna split some onion strings. Let's see.
That could be one. As you're like charisma, yeah.
Yeah, I see you went with a medium.
Split some onion strings.
We're gonna split some onion strings.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna split some onion strings. We're gonna have a theme here.
That's great. I think that's that step.
That's right. I keep forgetting about the steps. Okay. 8. Choose domain deck cards. Each class is made up of 2 different domains, which are listed below the class name on the character sheet.
So, on your character sheet at the top,
This
class name.
this.
So this is your class name. You are Blade and Bone.
Choose 2 cards total from the level 1 cards in those domains.
So here is Blade. So these are the level 1. These are the spells and abilities you can take. So because you're a warrior, you're not magically inclined.
No.
So you get ability. Okay, so these are your 6 level 1 options. I think it should say on there how many you can choose.
Choose 2 cards total
Okay.
from the level 1 cards in those domains.
So yeah, you now have your spread of 6 level 1 cards, and you pick 2 of them out of this row.
Out of all 6.
Out of all 6, yeah.
Whirlwind, and I see it coming.
We'll put these back.
Where do I put this somewhere?
So those you just hold on to.
Okay, that was step number 8. So
I
now
think we're on the
number-
last one.
We're on the last one. Create connections. Ask any of the connection questions on your character guide to the other players at the table, or generate your own questions. Use this as an opportunity to also discuss how your characters all met, what brought them together, and why they've decided to travel as a party.
So on your second sheet, there's a little connections box with a couple different questions on it. You can walk through those if you want another person in your group to have some sort
So
of
they're not for
relationship.
me to answer. They're to use for someone
Like
else.
if you had another person you wanted to have your characters like know each other with, you could talk and figure out how exactly you guys met or that sort of thing.
We knew each other long before this party came together. How? What mundane task do you usually help me with off the battlefield? What fear am I helping you overcome?
We could quickly throw together like maybe there's a seraph, which is essentially the holy warrior, maybe with a more divine connection, that was also going through your academy or something, who was one of your friends. So that would, I guess, answer your first question is, you knew each other long before the party came together. How? You guys were at the academy together with this more divine individual, maybe a different sect of the academy, and you guys were just friends or something.
I don't have to come up with a name or anything?
You can talk with the GM about a name for this other character. Usually they'd bring their own character, other sheet, full name along with them.
Okay.
If you want to give him a name, you can give him a name.
We could go with Dar.
Dar, alright.
What mundane task do you usually help me with off the battlefield?
You're hanging out,
Yeah.
not during your drills or anything like that.
Nope.
Maybe you're off the Segway
Recreational
in the mall.
hiking.
Yeah. Maybe you're practicing your Segway moves.
Yeah, seriously.
Recreational hiking, going to see the sights of your local. I mean, you are Ridgeborn, so you would be around mountains. That would absolutely be a pastime. And then last one, what fear am I helping you overcome? Maybe this seraph has a fear of snakes.
Yes. There is some more truth in this piece of paper now than there ever was.
It's almost like a lot of players put a lot of themselves in their characters that they make. All right.
Does my character get any special needs things?
If you would like. So
we
we
have one that we should.
There's fantastic sections on especially how to play a character with a disability respectfully and mechanically. They included things like the combat wheelchair. Specifically there is a section as well for blind or visually impaired characters, as well as, like I've mentioned, of service animals and stuff like that. But I think you're interested in this one.
Yeah,
it's playing a deaf character.
Which this is much nicer.
Yeah,
looking
the
than this
drawn image. Yeah, is of using flowers as cochlear implants or hearing aids, of which she wears. If you would like, you could throw.
Not deaf, but I'm hard of hearing, so that would be useful for me.
There's magic flowers that can be worn as ears, so you can decide on what exactly you want to do. So if you go to your front of your sheet, that first page, you could do like inventory or something. You have you could do flower cochlear implants. You have an elf character that is a Ridgeborn from the mountains, that is a warrior class with the experiences. Backup is a pretty universal term.
Split some onion
We're gonna
strings.
split some onion strings. who's wearing chainmail armor. What kind of visual appearance? Now that you
Well,
know
she's
all
an
this
elf,
about
so
her.
she's not real big. Mm-hmm.
There are. I love this little adult elf. It's just like rotund belly.
You know,
You don't have to be that.
See, well, I look like that in real life.
But there are young elves that are like
Yeah.
the tall and like lean. They also have like the older, the younger. Some have longer, like wider ears. Some have shorter and sharper.
Shorter.
So with shorter and sharper ears.
Yeah.
Would you short hair, long hair?
Long hair.
Long hair.
Short pointy ears.
What color hair would it be?
Gray.
Gray. All right.
Gray. Silver. Almost white.
Very cool.
So,
would it be an elf of like younger age, or middle elf life, or there's even some elves that are
Older
hundreds of years old.
Older adult. Like around my age.
Around your age. Long graying hair.
Long gray hair.
Shorter, sharper ears. And about how tall do you think?
I don't know. What is the realistic?
So
Say realistic, and it's a fantasy game.
with heights ranging from about 6 to 6.5 feet. But you could go shorter than that. You can go taller than
6 feet. That's huge.
that. Yeah, they're elves. They're tall and slender.
I'm thinking like really little.
Oh, you want to like short, like
Well, I don't
Keebler
want
elf?
it. I'll take tall, but my God,
Were you
how
thinking
big
like-
is a giant?
Were you thinking like Keebler elf? Like,
Big as a giant.
there are giants in this that are descendants of
know.
giants. I believe their height.
6.5 feet then. Holy cow.
The giant ancestry. They have wide frames and they range from 6.5 to 8.5 feet tall.
Wow.
But
Wow, a
it's
tall elf.
fantasy. You can be whatever height you
I
want.
want to be a 6 foot tall elf then.
6 foot tall elf,
Yeah.
long silver hair and short pointed ears, with the flower implants as well. Very cool. So you have your abilities there. You got Whirlwind. You have I See It Coming as your abilities. Last question, I think. Do you have a name?
The name's listed here.
So those are just suggestions if you
Suggestions.
want, so you can get that started, have some inspiration, or you can just decide on one.
That's my nickname in college. Reta.
Reta. Ah,
That
very
was-
cool.
If you ask the people I swam with.
Reta.
My nickname. Reta.
Could be Reta.
Reta.
So this is Reta. What did you think of building a character in the
It's
Daggerheart
fun.
system?
It's fun. I like piecing it together, and it's got it in my head, and pretty easy once I knew what I was doing, and these make it easier.
Add all the extra little sheets.
Yeah,
to
it's a
help.
lot of fun. I can see how you'd want to just kind of create more than one character.
God, you should see my amount
It's a
of
lot of
Baldur's
fun.
Gate 3 saves.
That's pretty cool. I'm enjoyed that very much.
Is there anything you didn't really like? How it's
Oh, I
written out?
I appreciated the fact that you knew how to navigate through all of this. It
Ask
is-
your GM for help while you're making characters to make it a little smoother.
No, the book is very useful, and the cards are very useful. And going forward, having all of this in a concise little place is super. But yeah, you being able to find things and being familiar with where they are and what they are, and it was easy and
Did you like all the options that were there?
very much so. It made it much easier for somebody that knew nothing about anything, and it was fun, and it gives insight into some of the
Cool.
other fantasy characters and ideas, and it's good.
Yeah. Do you have anything else other than your elf warrior that you were considering?
Well, I kind of like the giant thing, but now that I know an elf can be 6 feet tall, I think I'm good. Yeah, that was.
You don't want to be 8.5 feet
Well, it's
either.
funny because I have flipping through and you're telling me about them. I have very strong feelings about what I would be or wouldn't be, and I really didn't think
That's
I would
why-
have strong feelings about something like that.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's why a lot of people will play 3 different types of Inferis, or
I believe that.
Katie has played now 2 fairies.
Yeah, I believe that. I totally believe that. I can see how moods and where you are in your life can influence your character and
Yeah,
characteristics, and
There's some cool art in these as well.
they're beautiful. Beautiful work.
That's the other thing I just love flipping through this book and seeing all the different art pieces. Did you have any other questions about things on the sheet, or was anything not super clear?
Everything was very clear. It was super interesting and insightful. That was
Awesome.
good. I enjoyed that very much.
Cool. Well, thanks for making a character.
My pleasure.
Maybe the next time I come, I'll DM a session and
Cool.
we'll see Reta
Rachel.
again.
Very good.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. I think that's all I've got for this video. So, thanks for sitting down with me, making a character. I hope you guys are able to go off and make, hopefully new people feel a little bit better about entering in this system and having things available. A lot of stuff you can look up online. You can also, I'm going to do a little plug here, not sponsored at all, but we do love them. If you go to demiplane.com, they have various nexuses, which are the games themselves loaded into their website. And if you're doing this by yourself, they also have a character creator for Daggerheart that will take you similarly step by step through everything. You don't need the sheets or anything like that, or a DM kind of sitting there to help you with it. On Demiplane, it'll take you section by section, tell you what to fill out. You could read it all there. And I think with a free account, you can make 7 characters, so you can try different things out. But yeah, or you can sit with your DM or your DM daughter.
Tell me, friend.
Yeah, that's the point of all these games. Is you go out, sit with friends, and make some cool stories. So yeah, I think that's what we got for this video. Hopefully you guys newcomers feel a little bit better. Welcome to the game. If you're starting out, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you make some cool stories. We'll see you next time. There you go. We'll do yours tomorrow, Dad.
What is the type of character you want, Dave? That you've been telling me for years.
For years I've been saying I would like to be a